Oh, mine too.
Mhm.
She's usually really reliable and she lets me know if something's up.
Maybe something happened.
Hard at work and
Yeah. Named manager. What weeks ago? Moving up.
but if not, we can always record here,
First.
audio and video.
Professional job.
She's all transcribed if we ever need one.
Twice a year or something.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I can always send it to her.
Yeah, if we need it, and Chuck can administer those,
Something like that.
so everybody, you know.
Yeah.
So as long as it's discern, you know, as long as you can, like you said, you can hear it.
Mhm.
So we're gonna have to make sure people don't mumble into the.
Pick up demo.
As long as they speak loud enough, yes.
I'm gonna call. You coming?
Yeah, she.
You can text her.
Weston. Now she works for CDM Smith.
I do have it.
Yeah, company. Yeah. I think she's a good job, just like that, female jobs. She's. Well, good feedback from losses and stuff. It'll be fun. We should be coming up on that. Maybe it was not coming up.
Would it be okay to get everybody's names since I'm just seeing your faces for the first time?
Yeah. Find them in there, I looked in there.
Chuck, Janine Marchand, nice to meet you.
Gary Young.
Terry Young,
Scott Fisher.
Scott Ritter,
Don
Bob Byrne,
Ryan Grant.
Ryan Wentz.
Did you assistant?
Yes, sir. Mhm.
Joe.
Yeah.
We need to display the plans on Zoom or anything.
Texted Rose. Like a minute or two. Yeah, totally fine. It's Rose is very reliable.
Yeah.
Folks were waiting for our stock report reporter, so. For some reason, she doesn't you have an alternate plan. Which we have to follow her. I don't know what it is, but I've heard. So it's like that. We do have one. Not every
In progress.
Not every township or borough is technologically able to have a backup plan. This is the one that will.
Oh, yeah, we're good.
I'll be live.
No, it's not live, but it is recording now. Mhm. Yes, do your, just try your hardest.
If we're not on the record yet, but we're not, just so if the backup plan, if Rose is not able to get here tonight, is this proceeding is recorded because it goes over Zoom or, you know, whatever the virtual broadcast is. And so it records the audio and it will record the video. The stenographer just takes she takes the transcript. She's not interested in audio. She's not, when she's here, she's not recording video. She's just taking down what's said. So what our plan is in these kind of cases is the audio will be recorded. Okay. We then, if the transcript is ever needed, we save the audio and we would deliver it to Rose, who could then transcribe it. And she would be able to produce the normal transcript that you would get in a hearing. It's, if anybody's seen them, they look like these books, and they have like, it's like, he said this and she said that, and it has lines down, letters or numbers down the page and whatnot. So then that becomes the record. In this instance, if the hearing ever went on further than this zoning hearing board, meaning if it got appealed or was in court somewhere, anybody who's involved in that would have the ability to have the transcript once it's transcribed afterwards, or you would also have the ability to pull the original video recording and the audio, which we would preserve until we knew it was either not needed anymore or we disposed of it in accordance with township municipal records policy, which that's a state law. So normally the stenographer is the person who will administer the oath, because anybody who's going to testify here tonight will have to do that under oath. The chair by law also has the ability to administer oaths. So the chair will do that if he has to. That's your job and you weren't listening. Oh, okay.
I have the ability to administer oaths and I do that.
Okay.
If someone else isn't.
That's correct. And the only other thing I would ask is, because usually Rose is sitting right there, she can hear everybody, we're very close. And she asks just not to speak over somebody, not to finish somebody else's sentence, that kind of thing. But in this case, we're hoping the mics pick it up. So Rose would have asked you to identify yourself. She takes your name down for the record, and then she asks you to speak. Same thing here. We'll just ask you to identify yourself for the record, say who you are. We're not going to ask you to say that every time, meaning who you are when you speak, even though when Rose takes when the stenographer takes it down, she has a way of going back and forth between the speakers, and she can change the name on the fly. We'll have to do that. We'll be able to identify that through the video. But if it's the first time you're speaking, we're going to ask you to just say who you are, and also keep your voice up, because we get the mics. I'm not 100% sure where they're placed throughout, but you may not be standing next to one. So we might ask you to come a little closer to make sure you're heard. Okay. All right. That's all I really want to say if you want to get started. It's kind of like, yeah, I haven't heard from her. So I think we have the 5-minute rule. Yeah, I hope she's okay. I did text her. I haven't heard back.
Okay. Excuse me, with that preamble, ladies and gentlemen, I'll call this hearing in the Britton Township Zoning Hearing Board to order. In preparation for our business this evening, I ask everyone, please silence your cell phones and placing them do not disturb mode, or turn them off, do the old fashioned thing. And for your information, as you heard, this will be recorded and shared via virtual meeting. Some introductions this evening. To my far right is Janine Marchand. She's Assistant New Britain Township Zoning Officer. Alex Mullen is the Assistant to the Britain Township Manager. TJ Walsh is a Solicitor for the Zoning Hearing Board. Terry Young is a member of the Zoning Hearing Board. Scott Fisher is a member of the Zoning Hearing Board. Dawn Farber is a member of the Zoning Hearing Board. Bob Byrne is a member of the Zoning Hearing Board. Ryan Wentz is an alternate to the Zoning Hearing Board. My name is Chuck Cox, I'll chair the hearing seat. A little bit of housekeeping for us here. The Britton Township Zoning Hearing Board is a quasi-judicial body required by statute of Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, created by the Britton Township. This board is charged with the single responsibility to provide due process to the citizens of Britton Township to appeal zoning and engineering decisions made by the township. The zoning ordinance was created and is maintained by the Britton Township Board of Supervisors. The zoning hearing board has no jurisdiction over the contents of zoning. We ask that any concerns regarding the contents be directed to the Board of Supervisors. Our procedures for tonight's hearing shall be as follows. We'll conduct the hearing in a manner similar to that of a court proceeding, and all testimony shall be recorded. All affected parties shall have an opportunity to present factual testimony this evening, and all testimony is given under oath. Only the facts and testimony presented to the board during this hearing will be considered. The board will first hear the applicant's presentation of their case. The board expects the applicant to state the unnecessary hardship, how the proposal will not be detrimental to the public welfare, and any other grounds the applicant believes support the application. The board will also hear from any other individuals who wish to become parties to this hearing. After the testimony is concluded, the board will hear from anyone who simply wishes to make a statement or ask a question that is relevant to the hearing. Depending on the length of the hearing, the board may or may not make a decision on applications. Our hearing tonight shall be for the application for 106 Devon Road. Ms. Marston, do you please read the public notice? All right.
Yes, sir. Please take notice that the New Britain Township Zoning Hearing Board will hold a public hearing on Thursday, October 17th, 2024 at 7 p.m. at the New Britain Township Municipal Building, 207 Park Avenue, Chalfont, PA, to consider the application of Ashley Rose Sakirka. Searca. Circa.
Yeah.
Thank you. And Michael Edwin Hayes through their agent Mons Construction for the property located at 106 Devon Road, New Britain Township, Bucks County, Pennsylvania. Identified as tax map parcel number 26-8-27. The property is located in the RR Residential Zoning District. The property is improved with a single-family detached residential dwelling use B1. The applicant proposes a one-story in-law suite addition to the dwelling. The applicants seek a variance from New Britain Township Zoning Ordinance, Section 27-902B, to allow a rear yard setback of 41 feet 4 inches, where the required minimum setback is 75 feet. Please visit www. Thank you. You're welcome.
I do that. I changed the. Zone prior to application. It has noted in its cover email, variance, but when I went back and looked at the application, I do notice that there was something included about building coverage variance. That he didn't call that out, so sometimes when he doesn't do that, I don't know if it's been rectified or not, but I still went back and did the math. So I'm gonna say, we can amend the application to include that. We won't need any other public notice, assuming that building coverage variance is still needed.
Correct.
That's correct? Okay, thank you. What, your name for the record, sir?
Correct.
Okay, what's your relationship to the, okay. So now it's two variances. It's building coverage, which was included in the application. Dave just didn't point it out. In his cover email, and I didn't follow up with him to catch why he didn't. And also the rear yard setback variance that Ms. Marchand just read on. So now to the board exhibits. Exhibit B1 is the ZHB application. Included with that application was a list of property owners within 500 feet and the current deed for the property. Exhibit B2 is an addition and renovation plan, one sheet prepared by Inglesby Architects, dated April 10th, 2024. It's last revised September 9th, 2024. Exhibit B3 is a letter to the Intelligencer. Exhibit B4 is the public notice that was just read into the record. Exhibit B5 is proof that that notice was published in the October 3rd and October 10th editions of the Intel. Exhibit B6 is the township list of property owners that are within 500 feet of the property that's the subject of the application. And together with that list is an aerial map of those properties. Exhibit B7 is an affidavit of mailing that notice of this hearing was mailed to property owners that are listed on Exhibit B6. That notice was mailed on October 10th, 2024 by Janine Marchand. Exhibit B8 is an affidavit of posting. That notice of this hearing was posted on the property on October 9th by Janine Marchand at 1:30 p.m. And with that affidavit, she attached a photograph that she took of the posting. And lastly, Exhibit B9 are the two Bucks County records on the property. It's the Board of Assessment records and the floodplain viewer map and aerial of the property record. Board exhibits.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Just before I do the other part, Rose had she had a minor family emergency, so she apologizes for missing. Let me just text her back. I just said no worries.
But at least speak on behalf of everybody. Everybody wish her well.
Okay. So anybody who's going to testify tonight, you'll be sworn. You can come to the table, at least from the applicants. You can come to the table and sit. We'll get your names again, so I can write them down. And yeah, it's your application. This is your shot. Yeah, actually, you should come forward too. Don't let him say something that's stupid. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So as the chair indicated at the outset, this is a slightly different board than most other boards in the township. This is what they call a quasi judicial. It's more like a court than it is a town hall meeting because everything here is testimony. It's under oath. And the decision is appealable to court. Okay. The decision does not get appealed to the supervisors or any other board of the township. It goes right to court. So when you have that sort of format, there's ways that you can participate in the hearing, but it's not a free-for-all. So there's 3 ways you can participate in this hearing if you are not the applicant or one of their witnesses. The first way is you can do nothing. You can sit and watch. You are not obligated to say anything, ask any questions. If you're just here to observe, that's fine. Thank you for coming. The second way is, as the chair said, it is at the outset, at the end of the testimony, when all of the applicant's witnesses have finished and any parties, which I will get to in a second, have finished their presentation, the board will open the floor up for anybody who has a question of a witness, or maybe of the board or myself or any of the staff. At that point, we'll just ask you to state your name. We'll ask you to state, where you live, and you can ask your question or make your comment. The only thing we reserve is that some comments, there's 2 things about them. One, they have to be relevant to this hearing and this property. If you have a question about a different property or a different matter, that's something that should be directed to at a different time. And sometimes questions are better directed, secondly, to a different board of the township. The zoning hearing board has a very limited jurisdiction. It's the zoning ordinance, its variances, its special exceptions, and some sundry other matters. Some questions are better directed to the supervisors, the planning commission, maybe even the police. So we will ask you to keep your question, if it's not germane to the hearing or better directed to a different board, we will advise you so. The third way you can become active in the hearing is you can actually become a party. You have to request that. You need to be, if you're granted party status, you will basically stand at the same level as the applicant. You will be allowed to put on your own case. You will be allowed to be able to testify on your own, call a witness, put on any documents you'd like, put on any pictures, whatever your evidence might be. And if you don't like the decision of the board, you can appeal it, just like the applicant could do. Okay. It's kind of like if you think of a plaintiff and defendant, you're one of those in this kind of context. But not everybody gets party status. You have to be what's called affected. At the end of when we do the opening of the floor, anybody can ask a question or make a comment at that point. But if you want to be a party, you have to be affected by the application, which means you need to own or live at property that's within a reasonable distance of the property that's the subject of the application, which is 106 Devon. If you live in Bristol, thank you for coming. You're not affected. Okay. But if you got a mailing of this hearing, notice in the mail, the public notice that I talked about that went out, you're probably affected. If you didn't get it, that doesn't mean you're not affected. The board would just need to hear your more descriptive, a better description of where your property is or where you live vis-a-vis 106 Devon, so they can make a determination and decide whether or not party status is warranted. Okay? Hoping I didn't lose everybody doing that. Is there anybody interested in party status for this matter? Okay, so let the cameras and the record reflect that no individuals requested party status, so the applicant can proceed with their case.
Thanks, sir. Okay, and the 2 of you will be presenting the case? Okay, so will you state your names for the record, please?
Sure. Michael Hayes, I live at 106 Devon.
Okay. And
Colin Craig, Munns Construction.
you raise your right hand, please. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. You may present your case.
Sure, Mike, if you want to start by kind of just explaining the project and the purpose of the build, and then I'll.
Sure. The purpose of the build is for my mother to come live with us. She has some deteriorating health issues, and she can't be on her own anymore. So she's gonna come live with us and be nearby, but still have her own separate space. So I can, make sure she's okay, take care of her, the normal things that she do.
Right, and when designing this project, we did our best to keep it, within the existing non-conforming right yard setback. With, requesting that change in the rear yard to be that 41-foot forward. And we believe the hardship in this case is the restricting building envelope by the 75-yard rear yard setback. And speaking with, I believe, a Mr. Conroy at the township, essentially everyone in this neighborhood, if they were to make improvements to their home, would have to come to the zoning hearing board to do so. So that's why we're here tonight. And as far as the building coverage, if there was any request of stormwater management, they would be receptive to doing.
You're still under the impervious?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, that doesn't mean you won't have to do stormwater management.
Right, I just always mention it, I come to a lot of these meetings, and that's a big thing in a lot of those townships, so just throwing it out there, that is something, we're receptive to.
Do you have anything else to add?
I mean, it's pretty straightforward on our end, and those are the two kind of, issues we had were the, building coverage and the setback, so again, the restrictiveness of that 75 feet, I haven't really seen anything in other townships that are that far off of your property line, so we believe that is a hardship of the lot size.
Do you know where the existing 75-foot line goes now? Like if it's not shown on the site plan portion of the,
It is, there's
It
a
is?
dotted black line that
Where is
goes.
It's just, it says rear yard setback. It's like that dot.
It's a very small rectangle that encompasses the building.
It's the boulder line.
Right.
oh God, there it is.
Yeah, right. That's
I'm looking for
over
a,
here. Existing non-conforming, and we are not going any further to the right.
okay, no, it's very hard to see.
Correct. And I believe that, again, when speaking to Mr. Conroy, somewhere along the line, there was an ordinance change, so.
Can you describe the rooms in the in-law suite portion a little bit?
Yes, it's a bedroom. It's got 2 closets in it. A bathroom with, it's just one bathroom, full bathroom with a shower, a living space and a kitchen space, that are kind of put into one.
What's in the kitchen part?
Just a, fridge, pantry, couple cabinets, a microwave and a dishwasher, no oven or countertop
No counters,
or
no stove?
burner, no stove, thank
Okay.
you.
Okay. And there's no way, well, how do you access it?
So there's gonna be an outside access on 2 locations, one to the backyard, one to the side, which would effectively be the front. And then through the inside, from our house, there would be an attachment that is going through the garage into the door that leads to the kitchen.
You wouldn't have to go outside if you were,
If we didn't want to. no.
if you were in the main house, you wouldn't need to go outside to get to the new living, to get to the new suite. Okay,
There is an interior connection.
okay. So it's gonna be one structure.
Correct.
Is there a proposed footpath, paved path, anything from the inside that would go around to the?
I believe we do have a walkway that would be just off of the driveway to the side.
I don't see that on the plan, but that's,
Would that be a requirement by the township, or? I'd have to double check. It might just be a 3x.
That's for your impervious number.
Right, okay. We have a 3x3 pad there for a code requirement. Currently shown.
So you're at You're showing 3593 square feet of impervious with possibly 3750 is what you'd be allowed to by right. So you've probably got 150 odd feet.
Correct.
So if you stay within that, you don't need a variance for that. But if you go over that, you're gonna have to come back here.
We currently don't have that, proposed at the moment, but if you're saying, if we stay under the 150, we do not have to come back for that.
I'm not saying that.
Right.
She's gonna have to say that. Miss Marchand's gonna say that.
Right.
Okay? I'm giving you I'm signaling to you
Understood.
that you don't have if you want an impervious surface variance, you're not gonna get one tonight because you don't have a definitive plan.
Proposing that.
Okay. Okay.
How will the drainage off of septic is handled? What, the rain drain?
But typically, what we would do if there's not a stormwater management issue is we would just, it's a little bit of a design build during the build itself, but, they would just drain away to grade. We would do the downspouts and drain them as best we could away to grade.
Is there any standing water issues on the property now?
No,
That area is kind of hilly, I guess there's.
yeah, there's already a French drain in the back.
Would that be extended around this structure as well?
It would be, I think, pretty close to or in the path of where the extension is right now. But
All right, if you're gonna testify, I told you, you come up here.
Totally swear you.
Yeah, come on up. No, actually, come on. We do want your testimony in all seriousness. If you can correct that, because the members have a question about the drainage. Can you,
That's good.
you want to swear?
I will. Thank you. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes.
Do whatever you want.
It's already. It's towards the back. It's already towards the side, so we have like a tree line, it's literally like 5 feet off, maybe the tree line, so it's not even close to where.
So is that a rear tree line or side tree?
Side tree line,
Side tree.
if you're fishing the house, sorry, which side? The right side.
The right side.
So this isn't sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine.
This isn't a French drain around the structure. This is the French drain draining stuff off of the land property itself.
I believe so, because it's already sloped. So,
So-
yes, so it's
Slope.
left from left to the right, and there's already French drain. That was already, it's not even gonna be touching.
And that French drain drains the water in which direction? Toward the rear or toward the street?
I believe towards the street. Because our yard doesn't even get soggy, so.
And you're saying that it's your understanding that based on the layout and non-definitive plan, but basically what you're proposing footprint, is that French drain is not near that proposed extension.
Yeah, they would. No, it's not like, so it's like the tree line, the French drain. Land, and then where the structure will be.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I'm assuming your plan is to match the aesthetics of the house and incorporate it into the building.
Correct. It'll be uniform.
Okay, since there are no other parties, we'll come to the time in our hearing tonight. We'll give you folks in our audience here the opportunity to ask a question or make a comment. Of their choosing. So does anybody have anything they'd like to offer or ask? Yes, ma'am. Will you please stand and state your name and address for the record?
Mary Ann Bird, Dominic
Okay, what's it? Mary Ann,
McBurney,
and can you spell your last name, please?
B.
And your address was?
115 Dominic
Okay,
Bring back.
thank you.
So I've just been curious, because when I received the notification in the mail, I was curious as, you know, a neighbor and a homeowner, just what this would look like. Because, like you said, if somebody else wanted to do something like that, what would the ramifications be? And, I was trying to understand, the blueprint. And I was just curious because it's a beautiful house looking at it from the street, so I can't see behind it. But I think I heard, I couldn't tell if it was detached or attached to the existing house. 'Cause- attached,
That was the testimony, attached.
attached. So meaning it's on top, and there's a first floor and a second floor, right?
No, it's, it looks like it's a first floor that's gonna go right on the rear wall of the garage,
Oh,
and it's a one-story addition.
and same.
Yes, there is there's a sink in the kitchen as well as in the bathroom.
And then I was trying to. Guess the difference between the 75. Foot. Difference and what that means to us, like I was thinking if that was my home, what would that look like? I don't have any experience with that, but I do have, a daughter who's an architect, and I know that she had to get permission from her neighbors that bordered her home when she was doing an addition. It's not here in the state, but it made me think of that, so I made that connection thinking, geez, if I did want to do something like that. Was that?
The neighbors might have been like a homeowners association. Item. The neighbor issue that your daughter had might have been like a homeowners association issue. Okay.
It was just to what the addition that she was putting, I guess. To the house, portions that they had to get from the.
Okay, I can't speak to that state or whatever their process was, but here in Brittany Farms, every property is subject to this 75-foot rear yard setback, which basically what it's supposed to mean is start at your rear lot line and come in 75 feet, and that's supposed to be an open area. All right. And if you want to put any building that goes into that open area, like crosses that imaginary 75-foot line, you need a variance from this board for that. That's a purely township municipal thing. How it involves the neighbors is what your activity is tonight. You know, you're coming here. He doesn't technically need your permission. The township doesn't need neighbor permission. That's why I suggested if there was permission needed, that's a private item. Oftentimes does pop up in homeowners associations. So how that 75 feet affects your property if you're right behind them, but until you have a definitive project in mind, you won't know until you design it.
Yes.
Mhm.
What it looked like was to me, it looked like it was like almost separate buildings.
No. Okay. Thank you.
Yes,
Do I have to raise my hand?
you did, and it's your floor.
I had a question. I was looking for. Separate from first floor addition, a second floor addition over the garage. Is that still the case?
Potential future project that was in discussions, currently not in the works or under development. So,
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else?
There's just to clarify something you said earlier. If the neighborhood wanted to do something like this and this all goes through, we still have to come to you to still get.
Depending on what is proposed and would be unique to your property. So just say if it were you or for some other, it depends on what's proposed and it is unique to every property potential. However, as was stated, there's a similar zoning requirement throughout this entire zoning district. Okay, so, but again, if there's a variation in a property size, for instance, okay, the zoning requirement would remain, but the property would still be. So potentially, yes. Are you okay?
Yeah, that's right. It's not definitive. It starts with the zoning officer, Ms. Marchand, who reviews it. And if it meets the requirements, it doesn't come here. But if it doesn't, then it does.
Anything more?
I think we're good. You guys like to mention anything else? Good on my end.
No, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. That said, we're gonna go off the record. Okay. You want to get here? You want to do it? Executive. Get here or executive? Fine. I'm not gonna even- I'm not gonna- Just- You're here. A lot. Yeah. Can you turn off the mics, please?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yep. I didn't know I had. Thank you. For the, oh, okay. Yes, sir.
If we're gonna go back on the record. The zoning hearing board has completed the deliberations. With that said, do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve the application subject to all zoning and stormwater management specifics.
Do I have a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you.
Carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You'll get a written decision within 45 days of today, and I'll allow Mr. Craig to explain.
Yeah.
What that means.
Mhm.
All right, but you can still proceed with your project.
Do have a question, permitting wise, so we've already submitted the permit, which kicked all this into motion. What's the review process on that timeline wise? Is that the 45 days as well? Until
Well,
that's
you,
approved?
no, you can talk to Ms. Marchand and the codes department that more at your,
Okay.
specifically on that, of what you're allowed to do while the decision, but the board, the zoning board's just the zoning piece. All the other stuff they can't really speak to, so.
Understood.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Appreciate everyone.
All right.
All right, we still do have one more matter.
well, we don't need to,
We just want to,
do you want to, do I keep this on or, because we don't need the transcript from this part. This is just like,
that's all I didn't know if we needed to do this on the record. We typically do meeting planning record.
okay, well then fine, I'll just leave it on.
Yeah, those are my songs, I don't want.
Okay,
So other than that. So the proposal is to move the January meeting to accommodate the schedule of one of the hearing members. And I would say that this is the time to just, if we're going to do that, and it feels like that is likely or sway you to pick a date. Because ultimately we have to have the date in advance. It's got to be published and. Everybody just because we are.
I will be unavailable from the 9th through the 17th. Outside of that, all days of January.
So it would normally be what, 16? Yeah. So
Is the next Thursday going to be a problem with the facility, with anybody's calendar?
I would have to check if there's any other boards in here that week or.
Blame someone.
I'm not showing it.
If there are anything that work.
But that'd be the 23rd.
usually that works. Thursdays are a pretty light day here.
Yeah, I know when veterans meets and when parks.
Yeah, I'm not showing anything yet.
Yeah.
So you should be
If there's
fine.
no, I mean, in the past, the board has reorganized when it actually has a first meeting to hear an application. If you want to meet to reorganize, that's fine too, but that's your guys' call. But like I'm saying, in the past, the board has met and reorganized when an applicant, like if you don't have an application, it's your guys' call.
I concur. I don't know that we necessarily need to meet just to meet for organization, but if we are to meet, the request is that we would have it on that date. If there is an application, and we would meet on that day.
So the 23rd? Okay.
Is that acceptable to everyone? Okay.
All right.
Very good. We have a decision. That said, our meeting is adjourned.
I can turn it on.